A lot of people struggle to make progress when decluttering, and I know the reason why. Tell me if this is familiar. You watch a video, maybe like this, and you get all motivated to declutter, but you walk into a room and you get completely overwhelmed. There might be messy boxes, sentimental things might just jump at you out of nowhere. There are piles of paper you are completely overwhelmed with. You're like, I don't know if I should keep this. I totally get that. But there's one crucial mistake that I used to make before I cracked my decluttering code. So here's what used to happen. I was an emergency nurse and I would get home from work completely overwhelmed by the clutter in my house. So I would either try to clean up or I would avoid dealing with it altogether and go and watch a movie with my family. And then occasionally I would just be slightly inspired by maybe watching Marie Kondo's show or reading some books. So I would try to declutter. I would shuffle things around. Let me know if this is familiar. I would grab the easy things. I'd be like, oh, this is broken. This is easy. Or, I don't really like this. I'll let go of that. I'd have a little bit of success, but then it is a scientific fact that just when you get a rhythm going, either your kids, your cat, or your dog are going to get sick and completely derail any kind of progress that you've had. So unfortunately, the problem is there's a lot of stopping and starting, which was exactly how I started my decluttering journey and tried for like a decade. So here is what worked for me. I would just put it on the TV and I would just do a little bit of decluttering every day. And I found a way to make it enjoyable. I would watch Degrassi Junior High. Now when I do work, I put my AirPods in, I listen to a podcast, I listen to music, I listen to a book, something like that. And it wasn't always for hours on end. In fact, I actually had a lot of more success when I did smaller amounts more consistently. Well, let's do a little experiment or I'll show you an example. Now I'm going to use this delicious iced tea. To show you exactly what used to happen is I would think, oh no, I need to declutter, and I would spend a weekend doing it and I would get completely burnt out. Meanwhile, what actually worked out was being more consistent and spending a little bit of time every day. However, sometimes that just wouldn't happen and I would feel like I needed to catch up. Here's the thing. No matter if you're spending a little or a lot, it all makes a difference. So imagine that this iced tea is you decluttering. This is a weekend of decluttering. You pour that in there. Oh, that is so satisfying. Look at all that I got decluttered. But then it's the middle of the week. You can't get a lot done, but you can get a little bit done. So you go ahead and you do a bit of decluttering. Well, then life gets crazy and you really don't get much decluttering at all. In fact, it's been weeks. But then you walk through the kitchen, you see something, you think, why on earth have I not decluttered that for so long? So you grab that and you put that in there. Still, look at all that you got done. So here's the thing. If you expect yourself to always be giving 100% at everything you do, eventually we are going to crash and burn. So doing that little bit of water, plus that big bit of water, plus that little bit of water, that is awesome. If you only have 10% to give, but you give all of that, you gave 100%. You gave your best that you had for that day. And I think that that is so common for a lot of us that we end up just putting so much pressure on ourselves trying to be perfect whenever we're doing anything. And a lot of the time we start to think, okay, I need to do this perfectly. I need to start in the right spot. I need to have the right charity. I need to make sure that I have like all the right boxes, have the right technique, all of that. But really, we just need to start and we need to just put a little bit of time into it. So even if you spend, 2 hours one day and only 5 minutes for the next day, that is a success. And another thing that I think so many people don't realize is that if you spend 1 hour a day decluttering, that's 365 hours in a year. Now, don't get stressed and be like, oh my gosh, a full year. Is it going to take me that long to declutter? No, it won't, because the more you do it, the better at it you're going to be. And an hour is a long time to spend decluttering every day. If you did just half an hour, that's 182 and a half hours over the year. And if you did just 15 minutes, then that will equal 91 hours a year. Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? How exciting that if you just get started and you start honing your skills, like don't pick an area that is going to completely overwhelm you. Don't start in your garage unless you are like, I know exactly where I'm going to start and I know exactly what I'm going to do. If that, like you do you, right? But I think like start in a spot where it's easy. Start in like your junk drawer, which is one of my favorite places to start. Start in the bathroom, which is another great place to start. I have so many things under my sink before until I really started decluttering. And then I was like, hey, like this is a great spot. And then what you do is you walk by that area and you admire it. It is so great because as you work on it, you're going to build up those decluttering muscles. You're going to give your 100%. And just that little bit of time every day is so handy. And just make sure you're not bringing a bunch of stuff in the house. It's also okay to miss a day. If you fall off the horse, just get back on the horse. Like you are human. It is okay to get sidetracked. And like I mentioned before, so often just when we get a good routine going, something happens to derail us. Whether we go on a trip or somebody gets sick or just something happens, like life gets busy, end of school, beginning of school, whatever. And I get that. It's no reflection on your value of what you can get done. If you just get back on that horse bit by bit, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to get our mojo back to where we were before we fell off the horse, but you can do that. You're human. You just get back on that horse and it's going to happen. Now, like I said, I used to get all perfectionistic about where to start, how to declutter, where to donate, and I would procrastinate for literally weeks and months. And if you can relate to this, I have my perfectionist Buster book right here. It's free. It's an ebook. It makes it so much easier. And after you do that, you're going to watch this video about that. So download the ebook and then click this video where I show you how to declutter from beginning to end, all about how to put it into practice. Stay tidy and mighty. I hope something great happens for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.